Thanks, Steve. I'll just share my screen. And okay, so okay, I hope everybody can see my screen.
Yeah, got it.
Great, thank you very much. Hello, everyone, and good day to everyone. Thank you for joining today's webinar. It is my privilege to be able to present to you some of the challenges that are currently being faced at container terminals, and also for setting the scene for the presenters to come after me. So without further ado, I will start the presentation. So the agenda is to first give you some background around these challenges and why they exist, and then highlight some of the key pain points to put in perspective around the waterside operations, yard operations, landside, and also the back office operations. And what I like to say is these pain points are based on personal experience over 20 years working in container terminals around the world. I assume they apply to other container terminals, but obviously not all container terminals are different. So I would just like to say that this is a very personal experience around the pain points, but it may be applicable to the container terminals or the operations that you guys are having experience with. Just some background. This slide actually represents the fact that there are a lot of departments in container terminal operations. You can see the entire operations being mapped out here, and the entire terminals processes have been mapped out on one page. And you can see the interconnections that occur within departments that are operating within the container terminal. Now, each department in itself has a lot of interconnections and communications to make that operation successful, or the department's processes successful. And all these communications quite typically is happening independently. It's happening independently within the departments, and communications across departments is also can be further improved, I would say, to make it more effective. So if everyone is making independent decisions and then trying to make a decision for the entire container terminal, then it becomes a challenge to get everyone's ideas or everyone's input to make a very effective decision. So there must be a better way for us to make better decisions when we're running container terminals. So now if we go into the waterside operations, some of the pain points that are increasing now is unpredictable vessel arrival times. As we get larger vessels calling at ports, management of the berthing slots become really impossible if they don't arrive on time, and as they're large, they'll stay for a long time at the container terminal, right? So it becomes a real challenge for the container terminal to plan the berths. Shipping lines also are keeping to a schedule nowadays that is convenient for them. So, for example, if they can't make a call at Singapore for some reason, they will skip it, but all the Singapore boxes may be dumped in Hong Kong, causing a lot of pressure in Hong Kong. Accurately forecasting the operations is also really important, because if that can happen, then we can actually accurately forecast the equipment and the labor required for the operations, which would be really useful. And sometimes the labor is over specified just for the mishaps or the unfortunate events that can occur. But if you can forecast it accurately, then we may be in a better position to save money and cost. Ensuring the optimal routes for containers to be transported between vessel and yard will be really key and important, because if you can do that, you'll be able to save a hell of a lot of money and time in fuel, and also the speed at which the containers are delivered into the yard. There's also poor data quality. That's a challenge for container terminals from central planners, central ship planners, and previous ports of calls. If we can predict what those people are and what kind of mistakes we can do, we can intelligently actually fill in the gaps or get a better data quality by internal massaging. And efficiently managing operations in case of equipment breakdowns would be great. Actually, it'd be great to actually predict when the equipments are going to fail so that we don't have equipment breakdowns, which would be very useful. So that's some of the things on the waterside operations. Some of the things in yard operations, as you know, the pandemic and also the Suez situation has caused a real uneven capacity across terminals around the world, and many terminals are at capacity or close to capacity, which is resulting in compromised decking decisions and dramatically increasing the rehandles. And as you become at capacity, this becomes increasingly more difficult. Having an uneven distribution of work across the yard also results in poor utilization performance, and current tools and that are available, you can see that is currently the situation occurring at most terminals. And if we can make that more efficient, then I think we'll be in a better position to get more performance and utilization. Yard management constantly requires grooming and expertise. So, you know, the yard needs to be continually looked after to get performance out of the yard. Predicting import and export dwell times for containers, which would be great because you can actually predict where you're going to put the containers to minimize moves and rehandles. And container terminals will know this, that some customers like to take advantage of terminal storage. If we know in advance and based on history and also predict in future who those customers are, then we can actually make allowances for them to better optimize and use our yard. Landside are pain points of obviously unpredictable truck arrival times. Even if there's a vehicle booking system in place, you know, weather, traffic patterns are unpredictable, and it's difficult to predict the trucks come in, resulting in unnecessary congestion. Decking containers, optimal for landside operation would be great so that you can reduce your turnaround time. Currently, there is rigid prioritization for waterside operations so that it takes precedence over the landside. If at any time the waterside operations is not optimal, then automatically it'd be great to redeploy resources to the landside to keep the trucks moving across. And many trucks comes with multiple transactions. It'd be good to actually optimize these trucks and have a focus on what they really do and predict their motion or movements in order to actually further enhance landside operations and performance. And pain points in the back office, you've got operational delays magnifies the labor management department, who is actually rostering labor, and you know, which also results, if you're not optimal, shortages when you most need them can further delay operations. Overstocking of spare parts inventory, it's common that I've seen in terminals, and basically if you can actually carry the parts you require for equipments that you predict that's going to fail, then obviously it'll be useful then to take that cost off your balance sheet. Poor communications between departments, we've already covered that. Emails can be missed, but an ideal situation would be an intelligent system that can actually communicate directly between systems and departments to highlight what decisions needs to be made and what are being made. And obviously, COVID-19 has highlighted serious flaws in all operations of all companies around the world, and container terminals has not been left out of this. We see that, you know, remote working is a challenge with limited staff on board, and if we can help through predictability systems, then obviously we can actually improve our container operations. So I've kind of summarized all these points in this slide and where the improvements can occur. And I'll leave this slide up there, but I'd just like to end my presentation as always with the saying that it's for us not to foresee the future, but to enable it. And I think with the presentations that are going to come up, hopefully we can go towards that road and that journey. Thank you very much, Steve. Over to you.